Hi, everyone. Welcome to Bibliophiles, the program on AADL TV, where we discuss briefly each episode one book topic. The topic this episode is a book in translation. My name is Lucy, and as usual, I'm here with Christopher and Amanda to discuss this. So, Amanda, what did you pick for a book in translation?
So some of the favorite, I don't read a lot of translated works, and the books that I read the most of are actually two authors that I adore, and I've already mentioned them on the show, so I didn't want to spend a lot of time on them, and those are Arnaldur Indriðason and his Icelandic crime fiction novels, and then Hermann Hesse with his German fiction, both favorites. So I decided to dig way back into my formative brain and pull out The Sorrows of Young Werther by Goethe. The book is translated from German. I know, it just came to my brain. Why not talk about this book? I read this book in my early 20s. It originally was published in 1774, and it is the classic tale of a young man who's tormented by unrequited love, and it has a tragic ending. When I read this, I was so engrossed in it. I just felt everything so gutturally, and I don't remember what was going on in my life when I was reading it, but all of the passages. So the book is Werther writing these letters to his friend Wilhelm, and Werther falls in love with this woman, Charlotte Lott, who is promised to be married to somebody else, and he is just tormented because he loves her so much. So he is writing these letters to his friend, talking about everything, and some of the passages and lines in it. And again, this is from the 1770s when he was writing it. So just the classic lines of love and being filled with anguish and oh, I just loved it. And Lucy, you talk about writing down quotes and lines. I just filled pages and pages in a notebook with little lines and I read a library copy back in the day, and it was just, I don't know if I would have the same reaction reading it now. I would be okay, this is hard to read. What's next? But reading it then, in my early college years, it just filled me, and I just really enjoyed being lost in that world and reading these letters about this anguish. So there we go. The Sorrows of Werther by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. Christopher, what do you got for us?
Well, I just want to say I have fond memories of reading that book as well. I really enjoyed it. The book I wanted to pick for today is this book by Elif Shafak. Really wanted to feature it today. Unfortunately, even though Shafak is a Turkish-British author, this book was written in English, and I didn't realize that at the time. It was shortlisted for the Booker Prize, not the International Booker Prize. So anyway, I learned a lesson on that. What I did pick is this book, Death in Midsummer by Mishima. I don't know how popular Mishima is today, but I really enjoy his writing. Of course, he's a controversial figure. He ended his life by trying to storm a military base and make a coup or lead a coup to bring back the empire, and then he committed suicide. And so he has a lot going on, but his writing, I find, is so beautiful. Some of his stories of relationships are so touching, and I just love it. I also really enjoy short stories, and this is a collection of short stories. One of his stories in this book also kind of prefigures his own end, because it's about committing ritual suicide with his wife. And he is kind of a controversial figure, again, because he's very traditional. Many people accused him of being a fascist, but it's so hard for me as a reader to square these two ideas of him with his political views and his beautiful, beautiful writing. So, it's old today. It feels dated a little bit. It's pretty sexist in many ways, but I do love Mishima. He just writes so beautifully. So that's my pick for today. Lucy?
I picked a book that I actually just finished not too long ago. This was the 2020 National Book Award winner for translated work, and it's called Tokyo Uno Station. I don't actually know how you say that. And it is by Yu Miri, and it is a book that takes place in Japan. It's a novel about a man named Kazu, and he's the narrator. He is a dead construction worker who spent the last part of his life living in this homeless encampment in this park in Tokyo. And he thought that when he died, he would like rejoin his loved ones in death, but he actually ends up sort of haunting this park, not haunting it in a traditional sense, but those are his haunts. Like he's just wandering around and observing. And through these observations, you learn about his life previous to his homelessness. And you realize how much loss he endured. So the book is very unsparing in the writing about poverty and loss, but her writing is also really beautiful. It's beautifully written. And there are like a lot of just beautiful little sentences that I want to jot down after finishing this. And one of the things that I really liked about it was the fact that the author is giving voice to someone who is part of a homeless community. So sort of this invisible community. And it's interesting, you learn about the ecosystem of homelessness in this Japanese park a little bit. It's very organized, very structured. There's these like tarps everyone sets up. When someone from the government's going to be driven through, they have to clear out and they get specific times when they can go back. They're never panhandling because the restaurants in the area have sort of set up this system of giving them food. So that part is really interesting as well. And I couldn't put it down. I read it in about 2 days, and it just was sort of beautiful and sad, but also hopeful. I don't know. I'm not doing it justice, but Tokyo Uno Station by Yu Miri. And it's translated by, from the Japanese by Morgan Gills. So that is my recommendation for a work in translation. And so that's what we chose today. Our next episode, we are going to talk about an enjoyable movie that comes from a book. So we hope that you will tune in for that one. Thanks for joining us.